To create a new test, you want to go to your Blackboard course shell where you want to create it. You want to scroll down and click on Tools to expand the Course Tools menu. Scroll down again and click on Test, Surveys, and Pools. Once that menu opens, you would select Tests. Here's a list of other tests that you might have created in your course shell. Or if you had a test created in another course shell that you exported, you could click here to import that test. But when you want to create a test from scratch, you go to Build Test. Then you would name the test. Oops. You can give the test a description if you want. Here is a good place where you could say if the test is timed, if they only have one attempt, things of that nature. Then you would click Submit. And then here is your test bank where you start creating your questions. So you hover over the drop-down arrow next to Create Question, and then you would choose which type of question you want to create. So if you want to create an essay question, you would click on Essay, and then it populates it for you. You could give the question a title if you'd like, or you could just name it number 1, and you write the question right in this area. So if you have the questions typed up in Word, you could just copy and then go back in here to the test area and paste it with Control V. So you would click Control V and then your test question would appear that you just pasted from Word. Then it says you can enter an answer to provide an example of a correct response if you want to. If you don't want to add anything there, you don't have to. Here you can add a rubric if you want to state, how much of it will be counted towards the content, the grammar, structure, things of that nature. You can create a new rubric here by clicking on that option, and that's when you can assign it points and whatnot. If you don't want to give each individual question a rubric, which I don't usually do that, you can just click all the way down here for Submit, and then you'll see your first question would appear, and then the students would type in the answer, and then you'd have to go back in after to grade it. You click back up at the top for question. If you want them all to be essays, you can click on Essay again, or you could change other question formats. After your test is created, then you want to deploy your test in a certain week. Let's say if you have your week 1 created and you want the test to be given in week 1, you click on week 1. And then once you're in your content, you can go to Assessments and then click on Test. That's how you add a test. And since now you already have a test you created, you can go to Add an Existing Test and click on Saving. And then Submit. And anything you wrote in that description should populate in here by default. If you want to add something at that time, you can. And then you can scroll down to have it open in a new test window if you want. You want to make sure it's available to students. Do you want Blackboard to post an announcement for the test? Do you want to allow multiple attempts? If so, how many of attempts, or just unlimited? If you want them to just have one, leave that as the default. This is where you can set a timer if you want to. You can determine when the test will become available and when the students will no longer be able to see it. And you can give it a due date here as well. And if you want the test to be included in the grade center score calculations, you would leave this selected. Once you get all to the bottom, you can click Submit. Then you'll see that now that test appears right here. Another way to create your test is to go to the area where you want the test to be. So let's say if that's here under week 1, you can just click on Assessments, go to Test, and then instead of adding an existing test, you would just click Create to do a new test, And then this is where you would follow the same steps that you did before, where we went to tests under the course tools, and you could create your questions here. So there's more than one way to do that.